Hi, my name is Ann Alton. I'm from Illinois Regional Pain Institute. Welcome to an educational video from Illinois Regional Pain Institute Physical Therapy. I am a physical therapist here. You might see me, or you might also see Lindsay Callahan. We both have doctorates in physical therapy. Basically, we just wanted to make a couple of video shorts for you, our patients, and for anyone else who is struggling with chronic pain about things that we tend to say over and over to our patients. So clearly things that education is needed on. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how our body heals. So basically I wanted everybody to know that all of our tissues in our body are in a constant state of renewal. So all of our bodies have kind of a turnover, every tissue in our body has a turnover rate. Some are as short as a few days and some as long as years. Okay, but every single tissue, every single cell in our body will turn over at some point and get replaced with a new one. So basically the body will regenerate and build itself based on the demands that you place on it. So if you are sitting on a couch, you're going to get very, very good at sitting on a couch. We call this the SAID principle, and that's the S-A-I-D, and that means specific adaptations to impose demands. Athletes use this principle all the time, and so does anyone who progressively increases the weight in the gym or the length of time that they're running or distance to train the body to do more. The take home is that what you did last week is going to affect your body and how it builds up in the future. And what you do today is going to impact what your body looks like in the future, and what you do tomorrow is going to impact it. So before you lose heart thinking about the things that you've been doing or not doing in the last 7 to 10 years, remember that what you do today is going to impact how your body looks in the next 7 to 10 years as well. So no matter what body part is injured or how, slowly with repetitive stress or with a traumatic event, the body goes through the same basic processes in order to heal. The goal is to make the repaired tissue as close to the pre-injured original tissue as possible. The factors included are blood flow to the tissue and tissue requirements. So some areas of our body have our own direct blood supply for blood flow, muscles, skin, etc. Some areas have better blood supply than others, and others rely on the surrounding tissue to get their nutrients. Examples for these are the discs in the back and the inside of your joints. Okay, so for example, the inside of your joints, you have the synovial fluid. There is no direct blood supply that goes into that synovial fluid, but the synovial fluid itself has a lot of good, positive nutrition in it, and it also has some waste products in it. And cartilage is kind of spongy compared to the bone that's underneath it, and so how the cartilage gets nutrition is kind of a sponging action. So as you put weight down through your knee, the cartilage squishes, that weight squishes out all the bad, old, ugly, gross waste material. And then as you take your weight off of it, the cartilage will kind of suck in new good material from the synovial fluid surrounding it. So the way that the cartilage gets its nutrition and expels its waste product is by a gentle kind of sponging action. Okay, blood carries with it, and so does the synovial fluid, oxygen, sugar to fuel the work, blood cells, chemicals to facilitate the work being done, and building blocks for repairs. If the blood flow is good, more than likely your lymph flow is good as well, which is a helper system to carry away the spent workers and the old broken waste materials. Okay, I call this area of injury kind of your construction zone. And all of these helpers and blood cells and waste materials and building blocks, and that is in this construction zone, and that's your inflammation. Okay, so the tissue requirements we need to know how much does this area need in order to move. The skin on your scalp, not so much, but the skin over your knuckles and your discs need to move much more. So the more it moves, the longer the actual repair period will take. Because the good news is that when it's done healing with all the movement, it will be that much more supple and able to move. Okay, the areas that don't move much. All right, I had to collect myself for a second there. So basically, what I was saying is that the more that your skin moves during its healing, the more it will be able to move once it's healed. And I'm saying skin, but I also mean any other body tissue that we're talking about. And it's the more it will be able to stand the stressors that you put on it. Remember the SAID principle. So the specific adaptations to the imposed demands. Healing time, you may have already been told, especially if you have chronic pain, you may have already been told that the healing is done. Okay, the injury has healed. There's nothing more we can do. This is both true and not true, okay? The initial healing of all of the tissues does take about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the body part, depending on the injury, depending on how much was done, okay? But the bone, that means the skin and the bone knitting together and the basics of the job being done, okay? But scars can remodel at least 2 years after formation. Also, since your body is always remodeling, you can always get healthier. So even if your injury has healed, your nervous system may still be sensitive to that area and may not understand, and the tissues may not be healthy. So we can always get healthier. According to, textbook healing times, you may have been healed, but you can always rehabilitate tissues. Okay, I always tell people, don't shut the door on healing, because the body has an amazing ability to heal itself. Thing is, a lot of times we have to be able to figure out what the obstacles are and get those out of the way. But this can, you can take as little as 8 weeks or as long as you want to improving your health and function. And in fact, there's a really great book out there called My Stroke of Insight, and it's by Jill Bolt Taylor. And it's about a woman who had a stroke and how she chronicled her rehabilitation. And a lot of times neurologists will tell you that it's 6 months and you've gotten back pretty much everything you're going to get back. Well, she was not happy with that idea, and actually was a neuroanatomist, and a hard word for me to say, but she basically knew that our brains are plastic. That means that they can heal, they can change, and the fact that you can learn right now is a big indicator that, yeah, that's true. She was not really happy with the idea that 6 months and that was all she was going to get. And so it took her 10 years, but she finally got to a point where she said, you know what, I'm rehab now. Does my life look like it did before the stroke? No, it doesn't. Life changes you. But she got to a point where she was happy with how her brain worked and how her body worked. And so that's where we want to get you. Okay, so like I said before, I consider the area that's being healed as being your construction zone. If you think about construction zones on the highway, the inflammation is like all the workers, and you have the slow down while you're working mechanism. And so a lot of the chemicals that are in this kind of inflammation soup are irritable, and they will irritate your nerves in that area. And that whole message is kind of like the flagger's job on the highway, is to get you to slow down and not do too much too soon while the construction is taking place. Okay. So acids and inflammation are big flaggers. So acids are also, I consider those detours. Okay, so if you sit for a really, really long time, your butt's going to get sore. Okay, that lack of movement builds up waste products in areas that have decreased blood flow because of the compression of sitting on it, and sending that information to your brain, making you want to move, making you consciously, and you may even not be consciously aware of it, you just may, shift your weight. You see me do this all the time. But basically what we're doing is we're creating those tiny little shifts in order to increase the blood flow to that area, which will help to move out those acids, again creating kind of a detour. Okay. And as I already went over, the inflammation is kind of your construction zone, and some of those are irritable tissues, and they can give you that kind of slow down, you're doing too much too soon. A lack of anything in terms of holding you back from healing, anything that the tissues need to heal, blood flow, protein for building blocks, fats and lipids for building blocks, oxygen and sugar or carbohydrates to feed the workers in the machines, and cells like white blood cells to do the work. A misunderstanding of your flagger's instructions. Like, so what does slow mean? Okay, a lot of us basically kind of work above that protect by pain line anyway, because we have chronic pain and we have to be able to get those dishes done. We have to be able to make food to eat. So a lot of times we're kind of working above that flagger's slow down limit anyway. And so what does that mean? And like, are we doing any damage if we push past that? How do we know how to push it? And previously we did a video on pacing, so go back, listen to that video, and it'll have a little bit more information about how do you know when you're going too far past your limits. The third thing that might be holding you back is the belief that you can't heal. Okay, we have encountered a lot of people in our practice who believe that we just simply don't heal discs, or we don't heal after a certain amount of time, and that's just not true. We can always rehabilitate the body, but we are learning that the biggest part of treatment is actually, and then this includes surgery, this includes anything, is the belief that it can be done. Okay, so really looking at your beliefs and whether or not you think that this will ever get any better is a really, really important thing to look at. Certainly it's not the only part, okay, but you know, there was a study that was done recently about sham knee surgery. They took a bunch of people and they did knee surgery on half of them, and they opened up the other half and twiddled their machines and stuff around in there about the same amount of time, sewed everybody up, and everybody got better. So the people that didn't have anything done except for have them open up got better. So was it the fact that we kickstarted a healing process by re-injuring the area? Was it the fact that they believed they were getting knee surgery and were going to get better? We don't really know, but we do know that belief that you won't get better is a certainty that you won't. Okay, so opening up that hope and believing that there is a possibility that you can get healthier is a very important part of healing. Hope you've enjoyed this educational video from the Illinois Regional Pain Institute. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe at the bottom in the description section, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.